Welcome to A Call to Action. It's a series presented by Great Eastern Radio and Brattleboro Community Television. We're covering many different topics, from feeding children in a crisis to wondering if our money will be safe in the bank. Today, we're talking with Allie West from Fresh Picks Cafe. They are the food service director for the town of Brattleboro and the schools in Brattleboro. I'm Peter Fish-Case. Allie West, welcome to A Call to Action.
Thanks, Pete. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about what you would do. Fresh Picks Cafe is the company you work for, and the town of Brattleboro, the school district subcontracts you out to
Correct.
do what you do. So what does that normally look like free of a pandemic?
Okay, so before the chaos started,
Yes.
what our company does is we provide the meal service. We hire the crews that work in the kitchens. We do the ordering, we do the menus, and we provide the nutrition, and we provide the data that the district uses to do the meal claims.
Okay.
So it's just like any other cafeteria. We just are subcontracted by the state. I mean, by the district, instead of being an in-house.
So you keep all the numbers. So if somebody is wondering how many kids are coming in and having breakfast in the morning, you would have those numbers. How many kids are taking advantage of school-driven lunch programs? You have those numbers.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, prior to the pandemic, I mean, kids would show up to school, correct, for their breakfast, and we've all seen these statistics where a majority of these kids actually get their meals from school, which are breakfast and lunch. What did those numbers look like? Again, I just want to give people a benchmark as to what you're having to work with now. So what did those numbers look like prior to the pandemic?
What's actually really interesting is the Brattleboro Town schools are, they're called universal meals. So in Brattleboro, all students eat for free.
Okay.
So all three of the elementary schools implemented what's called breakfast after the bell. And that program allows students to not have to choose between going outside and playing with their friends or coming inside and getting something to eat. All the students eat, and they all eat in their classroom. So it takes that onus or that, thing away. And once we implemented that, we had over an 87% increase at all three schools. All three elementary schools have over 87% participation rate in breakfast.
Okay.
Which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, no, that's it's good to know.
Dummerston School, they are implementing breakfast this coming fall, so we'll see how their numbers go.
Okay.
Vernon does do breakfast, but they don't do, I'm not sure if they're doing a breakfast after the bell program. And Guilford does breakfast after the bell. So all of the elementary schools, the high school also does breakfast after the bell, but theirs is a little different. They actually have carts that go into the hallways, and the kids come out in between classes and get something to eat then. And as long as it's a reimbursable breakfast, it's free to the students.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. And then now lunch, are the numbers as high for lunch as they are for breakfast?
Lunch, again, elementary level, it's free. And at the high school and the middle school, it's also free. So their numbers are quite high. The surrounding schools aren't on the Provision 2 or Universal, so their numbers aren't as high.
Okay.
But I will send you an email, and I can give you the data on how many each one gets, so you can see the difference.
That'd be great.
Which is one of those reasons why universal meals are so important. And please vote for them. Please vote universal meals statewide.
All right. The plug.
That's my plug.
That's the plug. It's an important plug. People often take it for granted. Okay. So here we are talking. It's March 67th, and and we're in the throes of this whole pandemic. We've been and nobody pandemics well. We're all trying to change the tire while the car's moving and reinventing all this. What has been the impact on the Brattleboro school districts about feeding kids now? And we're heading into the summer months. What does that look like?
I will say, when we switched over, we went live. We found out on Sunday, the 15th at like 6 o'clock at night that schools were closed. We needed to switch on. The next day, we got together with the district. We had a big meeting. By Wednesday, we had buses rolling out with meals on them for students. We'd gotten everything in place, signing up, everything. The numbers went through the roof, way more than we thought was going to happen. We started out on the 18th of March. We had about 500 people signed up. Today, March 79th or whatever you decided it was, we have 1,132 students signed up.
Wow.
And we are feeding those children, all of those students or children get breakfast and lunch. And in Brattleboro, we're able to give them suppers as well. If people from the outside towns come in to Brattleboro, they can receive those meals. We're just not allowed because of state regulations to deliver to them. It's something we're still working on.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good though. I mean, at least they have an option.
Mm-hmm.
And so for dinners now, which I guess I just learned right before we started doing our interview, that the dinner program is not a new concept, that you've been doing that.
Correct. We do what's called the CACFP, which is the Child and Adult Care Feeding Program. It's a horrible name, but that's what it's, government.
Right.
And so the CACFP program is a way for people who are in a low income bracket to receive a third meal. We do it through their after school meal programs. There usually is something called, there has to be some kind of enrichment. That was waived during the pandemic, but at the 3 town schools, we do have 3 Brattleboro elementary schools. We do suppers. Green Street has amazingly high participation. They've got over almost 200 students participating 3 days a week. And then the other town schools, it's about 100.
Okay.
So we are doing after school meals for a certain, and I believe Putney also has the CACFP program. Now, because we're able to do it and we're doing it via the buses and stuff, we're doing about 600.
It's okay.
My mom.
Hi, Mom.
We're doing about 600 dinners right now,
All
on
right.
top of the 900 breakfast and 900 lunches. The amount of, I could tell you, and
Okay.
doing math, it's so scary.
I know.
So we're doing about 1,000 breakfasts, 1,000 lunches, and 600 suppers between BUHS and Academy every day.
So and those are the meals that are being delivered.
Delivered, yep.
Via the school system.
Either via the buses.
Buses, rather. Sorry.
And we also have drop sites. So there are 11 sites in between Vernon, Dummerston, and Brattleboro, where you can go to the LH Street Fire Department between certain times and pick up your meals there.
Okay. So, Allie, if as this thing presses on, there's no magic economy lever that would go, okay, where economy's back on, nothing changed, go back to work. It's going to be a slow grind to kind of build things back up. Are you guys ready? Is there a preparedness that you've done to look at this and draw up a model saying, yeah, we're going to expect a 5% increase next month, and then another 5% after that, and then maybe as much as 10% after that? And how do you adapt those numbers to what you're already doing?
Failure is not an option. Right now, actually, we have leveled out.
Okay.
We were getting increases, but in the last 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 more kids get signed up. So we're pretty much plateauing. We don't know what the summer is going to bring.
Right.
That's still out in the air. It's a question that John Sessions gets asked frequently when he's doing deliveries. It's something I get at least 10 to 15 emails or phone calls a day from families going, so what's happening this summer? And right now we don't have an answer. There's a lot of different reasons. We are willing to do it. We want to do it. The district wants us to do it, but we need to figure out who's paying for it.
Right.
Who's going to pay for the busing? Who's going to pay for the staffing? So the state has said we can continue to do this all summer. We just need to figure out how we're going to be able to do it.
So would all that money, I mean, is there the possibility of a donor coming in, or does it really just have to come from a state level?
Oh, no, donors are, well, if somebody wants to come pay for all the buses, I'll say, okay. Actually, that's not my decision at all. Edit that out, edit that out. Um, I don't know how we're going to pay for it. So that's why we have a lot of different scenarios out there saying, how, if we can, best case scenario, we have the buses, we run everything exactly the same way we're doing it all summer long.
Okay,
That'd be the best case scenario.
right.
Next scenario is, okay, so we can't afford all the buses. We do half the buses. We shrink down the program a little, move on. Next scenario would be, okay, we only have drop sites, which unfortunately would be really bad for all the surrounding towns because Dummerston's enormous.
Yeah, it is.
So there, a drop site in the downtown Dummerston doesn't exactly reach a whole lot of people because it's so big. So that's why the buses are so important. So there's all these different moving parts we have to figure out. And that's way above my pay grade.
Right. But who do you go after for it? I mean, who starts? Who's the first person you say, all right, so if I'm Allie West and I want to do this, and so we have to figure out how to pay for the food. Who do I ask for that? I have to figure out how to pay for the buses. Who do I ask for that? There's manpower. Who do I ask?
Well, it's a supervisory union, and they're aware of it. We're also waiting to see from the state and the federal government. There's things that can be reimbursed because of the COVID pandemic. We need to find out, A, if we qualify, B, if we will get these grants that will help pay for transportation and other things. We've received several grants already to help pay for coolers and ice packs so that we're maintaining safe temperatures while we're delivering the meals. And we got those from I'm going to give them a little plug, but yay, New England Dairy Council. Thank you very much for the lovely grants.
No, you know what? You always give a nod to anybody who's doing good in your neighborhood. Always.
Yep.
So good for you. Okay, so interesting. There's a lot of moving pieces to this conversation.
There really are. And even if all of us are so willing to do this, we know that there is a need. It is a definable, you can see there is this need. But until we get the funding and until we get the go-ahead, we don't know what we're going to do.
Okay. But for right now in the moment, so I assume schools usually let out about the middle of June, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
we're right now, as we're sitting here, actual Gregorian date of May the 20th. So, and not March 67th or whatever I said earlier.
Where'd you go?
It is, what happened?
Where are you?
I'm right here. I'm here. I can see you.
Glad you could. I couldn't see anything.
Dog can see me. There she goes. So as we sit here on May 20th, so you're really just looking at only a few more weeks of guaranteed feeding of kids. So there's some serious urgency. So what can we as citizens be doing that will help you drive that point home, that these programs are going to need to continue at least through the following school year?
Letting the supervisory union know about the need. I mean, they do know the need. So I don't know how much more. It literally is a matter of funding. If, hey, somebody wants to come along, give me a check for $150,000 and say, here you go, that'll cover it. I'll be like, okay, thank you very much.
Right.
I don't have an angel like that in the wings anywhere that I know of.
I'll check my pockets when we're done.
Hey, thanks for that.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious. So do we reach out to our local senators? Do we reach out to our Sanders, Leahy, Welch, to raise this issue, asking what they're being done? I mean, what they're doing?
It's actually not a bad idea, Pete.
Yeah. Well,
right to Bernie, right to Leahy, say, listen, we have this need. And it's, by the way, this is statewide.
Yeah.
As far as I know, only one school district, and this is as far as I know, only one school district has made the decision to do their program through the entire summer, and that would be Rutland.
Okay.
Um, there may be others in the state that I just haven't heard about yet,
Sure.
but they were the first ones that I had heard about that they said they were doing. Two of them I know are not doing them at all at the end of the school year. They're done.
Right.
I know we are going at least through June 19th because that's when our contracts are up,
Okay.
like for the buses and stuff. So again, we're in limbo.
I'm sorry. I'm just writing some stuff down as I begin to formulate my emails to our senators and congressmen. Well, I mean, it's important, I mean, we're really, nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean, the town of Brattleboro last night at the select board meeting passed an ordinance and a policy kind of asking everybody to be wearing masks when they walk into retail. So, and it's super inconvenient, but it pales in comparison. You putting on a mask to go buy a shirt in a retail store versus that kid who doesn't know where his meals are coming from. It speaks a little to privilege, but I won't get on that soapbox.
I'll hop right up there with you.
I know you will. I know you will. You have always had my back. So I want to have yours. Do you know what I'm saying? And I want to
I
help
appreciate it.
Fresh Picks, and I want to help the school districts and everybody to kind of sort this out. So, you tell me. We'll keep this conversation going, of course. And we want to figure out how to get these kids fed and their families fed, those who need it, obviously, through the
Well,
summer.
actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but one
That's
of the
fine.
things that's very interesting is when you say those who need it, what most people don't realize is it's not just people who are low income. I
Right.
mean, our program is open to anybody, but most families, the average family, they're not used to paying for breakfast and lunch for their kids 5 days a week because the school does that. And even if your kid eats school lunch, school lunch, if you're paying for it, I think it's about $3, maybe $3.50. But to make that meal at your house, pack it up, send it in, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Sure.
So it's not just those in need, it's just everybody. Everybody is being affected by this. And it's not a social status thing or anything like that. It's just our children are our most vulnerable population. They don't have a voice.
Right.
So we need to be their voice and we need to be there for them.
We need to be their advocates. I agree. So have you been working with folks like Groundworks Collaborative, the Vermont Food Bank?
Oh, my favorite people. Actually, yes. This is like a side shoot from what we're doing with the buses and the meals, but Fresh Picks, my company, the supervisory union, Groundworks, the food bank, and Food Connects had a collaboration.
Okay.
Collaboration.
Sure.
And I reached out and spoke to the school counselors at all of the area schools, Vernon, Guilford, Dummerston, Brattleboro, BAMS, and BUHS. And we targeted the families who are in the most need, who are being affected by this the most. The counselors gave us lists of names. Through the Vermont Food Bank and actually through Groundworks, we're getting the food delivered to us, and we are delivering boxes out every week to 125 families via the buses.
Right.
And I'll send you some pictures of the boxes. I mean, they're beautiful. And it's enough to get these families through the weekend. So we're calling them weekend supply boxes.
Okay.
And it's it's not 4-course meals or anything, but it's good quality, lots of produce, lots of dairy, and it helps these families who are so hard hit by what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a great program. There's a couple articles I'll send you about it too, if you'd like to see about it.
All right, definitely. Allie, we're here to support you. Just let me know what we can do. Me personally, I'm happy to communicate it out to the general public. Is there anything that we may not have covered that you want to definitely put out there before we're done?
Yeah. Give me a second. I get weepy when I do this.
Okay.
My volunteers. They're amazing. And they are the reason we're able to do what we do. So big shout out to them and my staff.
Yeah.
But the bus drivers, Becca at the travel company, or the bus company, we depend on 50 to 60 volunteers, and these are volunteers from the district and the community every single day to be able to do what we're doing. And we always will take more volunteers
Okay.
because as the summer progresses, if there are people who aren't able to do the volunteering, we might need more people. Get a hold of me, I'll get you in touch with the person, but we'll always take more help.
Okay. Is the best way to get a hold of you email?
Yep, and
All
it's the A-West at WSESD.
Okay. I'll make sure that it's in the description of the interview when we publish it, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
All right. Allie West, thank you for jumping on a call to action with me today. It's always good to see you.
You too, Pete.